It started as a dream so vivid it felt like reality. I found myself standing in a barren desert under a blood-red sky, the air heavy with the metallic tang of impending doom. In the distance, I could see a crowd gathered, their anguished cries carried by the wind. My feet moved of their own accord, drawing me closer to the scene. I didn't realize where I was until I saw him. Jesus, robed in white, bloodied and battered, was being dragged toward a wooden cross. His eyes, though filled with unimaginable pain, held a profound sorrow that pierced through my soul. The crowd was a mixture of jeers and sobs, and the Roman soldiers were relentless, whipping and mocking him as they forced him to carry the heavy cross. I tried to speak, to scream, to intervene, but my voice was trapped in my throat. My body felt weightless, like a ghost tethered to this nightmare. I followed, helpless, as they reached Golgotha, the place of the skull. The sun seemed to dim as they nailed his hands and feet to the cross, the sound of hammer striking metal reverberating in my ears. Time blurred. I watched as the cross was lifted, as Jesus' body sagged under its weight. The sky darkened further, a storm brewing above. The crowd's noise faded, replaced by the howling wind and the creak of the cross swaying in the storm. His final words echoed in my mind. "It is finished." Suddenly, lightning struck, splitting the sky in two. The ground trembled violently, and I was thrown to my knees. I expected the scene to fade, for me to wake up from this dream. But the nightmare persisted. I looked up to see Jesus' lifeless body hanging on the cross, blood pooling at its base. Then something shifted. The blood began to flow upwards, defying gravity, seeping back into his wounds. The storm calmed, and the world grew eerily still. Jesus' eyes snapped open, but they weren't the kind eyes I had seen before. They were dark, cold, and filled with something ancient and malevolent. The crowd's cries turned to screams as he tore himself free from the cross, the nails falling to the ground with a metallic clang. His movements were jerky at first, like a puppet finding its strings, but soon he stood tall and imposing, his gaze locked onto mine, and a cruel smile spread across his face. "You," he said, his voice resonating with power that made the ground quake. "You have seen what you were not meant to see." I tried to back away, but my legs refused to move. The crowd scattered in every direction, but I remained frozen as he approached me. His blood-stained hands reached out, and I felt a cold grip encircle my throat. "Do you know why you're here?" he asked, his tone mocking. "You're not dreaming. You've always been here." Confusion and terror gripped me as his words sank in. Memories flooded back, fragmented and horrifying. I saw myself in the crowd, jeering and mocking, a soldier's whip in my hand. I had been there, not as a witness, but as a participant. The realization hit me like a blow. This wasn't a dream. This was my penance. I was trapped in this moment, condemned to relive it for eternity. Jesus' twisted smile was the last thing I saw before the world dissolved into darkness. And then I woke up, or at least I thought I did. I was back in the desert, the blood-red sky above me, and the crowd's cries in the distance. The dream had started again, but this time I knew I wouldn't escape. I was part of the nightmare, and the nightmare was me. The cycle of torment and realization was endless, a punishment for my past actions. Each time I woke, the horror began anew, and I was forced to confront my role in the suffering. There was no end, only the eternal return to this moment of dread.